I will respectfully turn it over to Andrea and Frank, and I ask for everyone to go on mute.
So first off, thank you to the board for, again, I know it's another meeting. We've had quite a few. We have, I think, 2 more weeks in a row of meetings, but it's important as we're moving through all these challenges that we get together and make sure the board is apprised and that our community is apprised. So last Monday, we had a town hall. Thank you to Andrea. Thank you to Stephanie. Thank you for principals and directors for putting everything together to help us with that. We think it went pretty well, but our goal tonight would be just to present an overview of our plan for our reopening in September, whatever that looks like. Then I figured we would discuss our recommendations to the board and where we think we need to be based on everything we've been doing. We'll highlight our new website and just some of the new resources that are out there, and then take any questions from the board. I will let the board know, if you weren't aware, we do have another town hall scheduled for next Tuesday and one for the following Wednesday, in case anybody wants to tune in on the YouTube channel or whatever it's called. So Andrea, do you want to walk us through where we are with the plan? I will say that for reasons that are not related to our ability to complete the plan, we have asked for and requested and received an extension of 1 week for our submission. Our goal was to make sure that all of our stakeholders, including our teachers union, saw the final plan prior to our clicking submit on it. It's 99.8% done, and we could finish it tonight if we needed to, but we just want to give all of our stakeholders an opportunity to have one more look at it. So the board has a draft of it. Teacher Association will have a draft of it after this meeting, and this way, we can have some conversations with them if they have concerns before we click submit. So, Andrea, I'll give it to you for a bit.
Thank you. So we did have our town hall on Monday night. We provided an overview of the different instructional models that we were considering, and also we looked at the regulations or the requirements in terms of what state ed has put out and what they are looking for in the plan. We shared a lot of information. We answered a lot of questions. I know that there are many, many more questions that are still unanswered, and we'll continue to answer them when we have the town hall next Tuesday. The plan is looking for information in terms of communications, family and community engagement, which we just sent out a survey based on the 3 models, actually 4 models that we had presented for the town hall. We presented a model that is considered to be an A-B block. It's an alternating day block. There was another model, a hybrid model, where we're looking at an alternating week, and then a third hybrid model where we are looking at a alternating two-day block schedule. And then the 4th model is a fully virtual model. So those are the 4 models that we're presenting at this time. And we did send out the survey to gather feedback on people's first and second preferences. We received responses from the faculty and staff, from students, and from parents. In addition to that, we're having the town hall on Tuesday next week, and then Wednesday the following week. So we'll continue to get to share information and get additional feedback after those meetings. So community engagement, we also created a website for reopening 2020-2021. I can put the link for that in the chat if you have not had a chance to see it. I'll put it right here for all of you.
Andrea, where can the community find that? Is it right on the website?
Right on our website, yes. Where we used to have the information for COVID-19, we've replaced that link with the link to reopening 2020-2021. Yep, it's right there. Yep, thank you for asking that question. So in addition to the communication piece, there is a big emphasis, of course, as you can imagine, on health and safety and what that looks like. So there's a large section on health and safety. There's a section that will cover on facilities, social and emotional learning, school schedules, the actual teaching and learning, special education, and there's a section on bilingual education in world languages and also staffing. So we have it very well developed at this point, but we felt that it was important to have this board meeting tonight and share the information with the Board of Education as a follow-up to the meeting on the town hall on Monday evening, and also to have time for additional feedback from the teachers and other constituents that we're currently working with, as well as the administrators have been very involved in editing it. So the copy that I sent to the board earlier this evening is a very rough draft in terms of a final edit, but I felt that it was super important for all of you to have that copy as a first perusal as well. And we will, I still have formatting to do and a cover and logistics like that, but it's basically done. The other thing that we do have the other deadline that we do have to meet is a Department of Health deadline tomorrow. So that is this plan minus the pedagogical pieces. So minus the information about special education, minus the information about teaching and learning, minus the information about the school's schedules. So there's another copy that's available, but it's really just the facilities and the health and safety pieces. And we will have that available tomorrow, and Dr. Sheboy will be certifying that for the Department of Health tomorrow. But the bulk of it is here. It's an 80-page document, and you're welcome
Which
to
Department of
look
Health?
through it. The New York State Department of Health. Yep, you're
Thank you.
welcome.
And it's important for us all to recognize that while there are now, the state education department will give, an extension for us to submit the entire plan. The Department of Health is currently not giving extensions for their piece. And they say, well, that the state ed can do what they want, we'll do what we want, and there's no reconciliation for that. Again, builds relationships. The question about Mondays versus Fridays off, that's about even. We've looked at the calendar to see the greater impact. As when I spoke of phasing in, our goal would be to phase in some of our most vulnerable learners, some of our youngest learners, bring them back early. Some of our students, our special ed students, our L students, perhaps our Title I or our poverty students, to try to just bridge some gaps that we know exist in their learning from March. And some of them had learning gaps already. So our goal is to do that, to balance the most important thing, which is the health and safety of our children and our faculty and staff, with the educational needs of all of our children, and to get everybody back to school, but safely. So, Andrew, you want to add to what I
Frank,
missed?
What,
Go ahead,
go
Ned.
ahead, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
What is your thinking that supports, as I understand it, the first approximately 4 weeks totally remote?
Yeah. So, Andrew, jump in anytime.
Were you able to hear
But
me?
the goal for that, yes. Yep. So the goal for that would be multiple. It would be to start building a framework that we anticipate we're going to have to move into remote throughout this year anyway. So this gives us an opportunity to build that framework and to set it up. It gives children and faculty members opportunity to converse and to meet with one another without masks, because when we get to the school, we are going to all be wearing masks. It keeps our kids safe while we see what the trends are in a nation right now that we don't know. And we will watch as other school districts are bringing their kids in to see if there is increased infection rate. And we have the ability to do this. It's also a matter of whether or not, our systems would be fully ready. Whether or not we've got enough classrooms, whether or not we have to look at ventilation in any of our rooms, whether or not we have enough PPE on hand. We've ordered all of our PPE and we're waiting for some of it. This gives us the ability to work through some of those challenges as well. And Andrea, I'll throw it to you.
No, I agree with all of that. I think that it lets us test our systems with our students during an educational time. Right now, we have a plan that is ready to go, and we'll implement it at any point, but it does allow us to test our systems. It also allows us to have those deep, meaningful conversations with the staff and faculty. They will be back, they will be with us, they will be actively teaching. We'll be able to involve them in those conversations as we move to a hybrid model, and we slowly are able to phase in bringing all of the students back to school in that hybrid model, and allows us to have those conversations that are very difficult to have over the summer. They aren't working, we're not all together, and so that's a piece of it as well. We've had a lot of very, very difficult decisions about these different models, and we feel that based on everything that's out there right now, this is in the best interest of the children, and enables us to bring them back together in a way that's truly safe and responsible.
So may I ask
Thank you.
two questions? One is, do you plan on, just like I know you guys are all back at work, the administrators are all back at work now, do you plan on the teachers being in their classrooms teaching remotely, or do you plan them being remotely as well, or is that TBD?
Our hope and our hope would
Could
be that
somebody
everybody.
Could you repeat that because Ann came at least across to me, all broken up.
Did everyone else hear me? Okay.
So the question was, do we anticipate that our teachers would be teaching from, even if we're remote, would be teaching from their classrooms or from home? And while I would say that the general answer to that is right now it's TBD, there's a lot of dialogue to be had over that. Our goal would be to have them teaching from their classrooms, because then when they move into the hybrid, we're already ready to do that.
Okay. And then my second question is,
we made an announcement about pre-K as to, what was going to happen, And the short answer to that is we need every one of those professionals to provide additional instructional support as well as supervision for our children. We were not looking at pre-K reduction as something that we're just, we could do willy-nilly. We actually anticipate both of those teachers will be needed to provide instruction, because we have to have smaller class sizes in our elementary, even for our hybrid. And that those aides are going to be crucial to helping us maintain social distancing and supporting the other needs of the children aligned with the instructional model.
thank you.
So in short, this will not lead to a reduction in force because of the loss of pre-K.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Hey, Frank, can I ask a couple of questions? Is that all right?
Of course. Yeah, of course.
I didn't want to take anyone else's time. I apologize if I missed it. I know you said when they come into the building they have to wear masks. Are they required to wear the masks all day while they're in school?
Yeah, great question, Aaron. So currently the statement says that children have to wear masks during instructional period of time in the classrooms, in the hallways. The only time that they really cannot wear masks is when they're eating, or when they're on, children and faculty and staff, don't get me wrong, and when they're on what they call mask breaks, which schools are encouraged to try to identify ways for increased mask breaks for children. So, the principals are thinking about what does that look like. So for Rachel, that's built into some additional recess time. And for Michael, I'm sure he's working on how that's going to look in his building, because they have to be socially distant, be at least 6 feet apart, even on these, lunch breaks or on these masks, but we have to identify these ways to provide mask breaks for the children.
Okay. For families that have kids in different buildings,
Yep.
Do we have an ability to attempt to coordinate where they're all in the same AB? You know what I mean? Does that make
Yes, great question. Fantastic question. Through our student management system, which is School Tool, we can identify family groups as opposed to just family names and things like that. And that helps us to do that.
Okay, great. And last question, I promise. Once the model is chosen and we figure out which way we're going to go for sure, for parents that aren't thrilled with that model, is there an option to stay home virtually?
So that's something that we're still waiting for a little bit of guidance on. And I want to preface this by saying, once we get out there with our model, we know that we need to also send out what we call some impact surveys. It's going to be talking about, questions of transportation needs and things like that and other needs so that we can help address those needs, right? So, so the question about family choice is an important one that we still don't have all the guidance or clarification on. There are schools that are saying that they're doing it. There's conflicting information from the state. If a child or a family has documented needs, obviously we have a requirement to meet those needs. But we're going to just wait a little bit longer before we address that specific answer, Aaron, if that's okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, definitely. More information.
Yep. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will tell you when I don't know an answer, I'm going to tell you I don't know.
Thank you.
And Aaron, I want to say one thing about one of the questions that you asked, because I
Yes.
think it's really, really important about being able to work with families. So if they have a student, I'm making this up, but in the intermediate school and the elementary school, that our district is going to do the absolute best that they can. But if they can't, we're gonna try to work with them, but they're gonna try to do the best they can. Because
Absolutely.
if it's just impossible that, whatever, that particular teacher, there's no one else to teach in that class, so it has to be that day and that time. So I just don't want to put unrealistic, but they're gonna work their hardest to make sure that they can accommodate as many students and family as they can.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've done a great job at showing that since March. So I have no doubt that we will do what we can do. So thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Was Aaron's last question, what about parents who don't want their children physically?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
I didn't hear that question. What was that question? What was Ned's
He was
question?
asking what your question. He was asking
I was
what your
just
question was.
getting clarification on your question.
Got you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
I have a question, if you don't mind. Can everybody hear me?
Of course.
Okay, very good.
There-
I guess we're waiting for the go code from I guess Governor Cuomo in the event that he says it's all right to return completely back to school, but that's going to be some sort of transitional hybrid before we get to that point. No, I mean before you can stop, you got to slow down, right?
So Gus, I'd like to imagine that the governor is going to take a logical and measured approach to everything that he's saying. I have a vivid imagination, so I will say this. We have no idea what the governor is going to say. I have nightmares that the governor is going to say, bring everybody back on September 8th. I don't think that's going to happen, but that is my nightmare. I'm hoping what the governor will say is, do what's best as leaders in your community, local decision, do what's best within the parameters of your plan. I expect kids to be engaged. This is from the governor. I expect kids to be working. I expect teachers to be engaging with families. I expect school leaders to be engaging with teachers and with families. And that's what I hope he says. I expect something along that line, but then again, I have a vivid imagination.
I have a question in regards to all of this conversation, because I do think the town hall was very well attended. And I think that there was a lot of questions, which we've all had. We've all been having this conversation now for several weeks. This is the first that the community really heard from our vantage point, the plans that have been being put together. However, we recognize that not everybody can attend these meetings at the time that they're being held. I'm not talking about the town hall. I'm talking about our board meetings. So how can community members access our board meetings other than live? If they can't participate live, how can they watch those meetings?
I'm going to throw this to Dr. Theodore.
So, Faith, the link to the meeting stays live until the next link goes up. So, for instance, the meeting from June or July 23rd was live until today when the link for today went up. It automatically records it and it's available for viewing just by clicking on the same link that you clicked to join the meeting. Yeah, it's right. It's on the same page as the
Okay.
list of meetings for the Board of Education.
Okay, so from the website, they go to district and then to Board of Education.
Yep,
Okay, thank you.
it's right there. You're welcome.
Thank you. So the one thing I had
Yeah,
been,
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry. Can we post those links to social media so people can see them easier? Is that all right? I don't know if there's.
I'd send them to the website in case something changes. Just tell people you can watch if you want to put something out on social media, you should just say, please go to our website to get the link to the most recent board meeting.
But that's what I'm saying. We could post the link to the website, though. Is what I'm saying, right?
Just send them to our website in case something changes, like tonight, 15 times. You know what I mean? Like, just send them to the school board, you could put whatever, www.hff.org.
Yeah.
Don't give them the
Okay.
link to the meeting, give them the link to our website,
Got you.
okay?
Yeah, the link to the meeting would not take them there. Yeah. The link that you clicked on to get to the Google Meets would not take them.
No, it's a different. Yeah, it's not
Okay.
the link to our meeting. It's a link to the live stream, Aaron.
Yeah, no, I meant the
Okay.
the ones that we're posting, like Victor said, yeah. But I'll just link them right to the website. I got it.
Awesome.
Okay. And the one thing that at the next town hall, and for anyone that's listening on the call now, I think that we just need to clear up some misconceptions about what hybrid or online learning will look like going forward. It's not going to be the same as it was in the spring. It's going to be, if I understand it correctly, please correct me if I'm wrong, and I asked for us to touch on this at the town hall next week. So if period 1 I have math, and period 2 I have science, and period 3 I have history, and period 4 I have gym, I will actually be in class with those teachers on period 1 until period 1 is over, period 2, period 3, period 4. Because there was a lot of downtime, meaning, go work on your assignments or whatever and check back in. So this is really going to be where the students will be engaged during their regular school day. Is that what we're trying to set up?
Yes, and that is. I mean, one of the things that we heard in the from the parent surveys in June is that they were really looking for more synchronous instruction, and so we've reformatted the days, whether it's hybrid or whether it's virtual, so that there is increased face-to-face time between the teacher and the student. So in all cases, that is true. And in a virtual model, we've and also in the hybrid model, I think to some extent, we've extended the time between classes so that students would have an opportunity to take a break, get up, walk around, grab a snack if they need to, and then come back and click on the link for their next class. It just wouldn't be one rapid click going into one after another. So we built in some downtime.
So you can share that? Yeah, if you shared that with the community, I think that would clear up a lot of questions out there.
Sure, we can do that on Tuesday night.
Thank you.
Yeah, so next week's
What
town
time?
hall, the focus of next week's town hall will be
What time is next week's town hall?
Tuesday.
7 p.m. Tuesday.
Thank you.
You'll get a link to it in your email.
So again, the purpose of next week's town hall will be to go over what we're going over today as far as our recommendations and our plan for the upcoming school year's start. The following town hall, our goal will be to give a more granular picture of each building's schedules and what it would look like from the perspective of a child and the perspective of a teacher for each of our levels. And again, I think that that will help a lot of people, but we know that that's not going to be enough. That again, we're going to have to do some outreach once we have submitted our plan, once we've gone through some things, just to say, okay, what transportation needs are there? What other needs can we help our children's families meet as we begin the school year? And again, we're predicating all this on the governor giving us the freedom to act in a way that we think is appropriate and best for our children.
How much input from teaching staff has been received at this point?
So we have had teachers or faculty members of Teachers Association be part of every subcommittee with the exception of governance, which just received information and considered it. But they've been part of the decision-making for all of the subgroups since June. I mean, but we haven't been able to connect in concert with them in full bore since they left, the school year ended. So while I would like to say they're fully versed, they were fully versed of the instruction plans when we left in June, and then the other subcommittees as we worked through the year. So I hope that answers your question, Ned.
Hey, Frank, this is Cecil. Can I ask a question?
Thank you.
Of course, sir.
Hey, so one question I have. So with our plan, let's just say the first 4 weeks we're doing virtual kind of crawl, walk, run. Is that similar throughout Orange County, or are we different than, I don't know, let's say Cornwall and some of the other schools? I mean, how is that being managed, right? So if I'm a resident of Highland Falls, is it different in other areas, or are we all kind of lockstep together?
See, Colonel, I'd like to tell you that we're all lockstep together, but districts that have gone out with their plans, many of them have revised them already. I would tell you that there are districts that are doing hybrid. There are a couple districts that said, no, we're bringing everybody back. I honestly don't know how they're doing that. But I don't want to make the assumption or even give the impression that every school district in Orange County is doing the same thing, because they are not. I think everybody is making what they think is truly the best interest for their children and their system to be able to meet those needs.
So I guess from my just curious, are we being the most delicate, or where do you see us falling in? I guess with the pack, I'm just trying to gauge what I think my constituency is going to say. Of course, I'm just curious. Are we kind of with the pack? Are we a little bit slower than the pack? Where do you think we are in all that?
Well, it depends which part of the pack, to be honest with you. I think that there's three different elements. Again, we do have some that are going back. Newburgh and Large City School District is doing exactly what we do. Middletown is doing exactly what we do. As I look through, nobody is really going out too much detail. Cornwall is doing a hybrid from day one. A couple other districts are doing, hybrids or planning on it. Most haven't really gone out and said what they were doing. I don't want to go and say out of school, what district they're doing, because I've heard what they've done, and then I see when they go in public that they're doing other things. So I would say that we are probably on the conservative end of it.
Okay, and then with the teachers, I guess the question I have is, I don't think there's going to be a vaccine in 4 weeks. What are they looking for, right, as far as to get them? I thought it was a good question. Maybe be virtually teaching in the classroom to rip the Band-Aid off, right? They've been gone all summer, to get them, put a foot back in O'Neill and let them know they won't die if they walk in the building. Is that the plan to kind of, because we're not going to have a vaccine most likely. Is that kind of the plan? Like, hey, you get your foot in the door 1 September, and then maybe 30 September we're teaching class, with kids in the building. Is that kind of the process we're trying to get implemented?
I think the goal would be to have everybody returning New York State has given us, New York State Department of Health has given us very specific guidance and has designated a fair number of individuals as vulnerable populations, and we have to work within all of those parameters. My goal would be to have us back in school tomorrow if I thought it was safe, and that includes everybody. And I think that my measured response to that is I don't think it's safe for all of us to be back. And yeah, so I think it's kind of, like you said, crawl, walk, run. I'd rather it be crawl, run, and hopefully conditions that, will present themselves around that look like everybody can do virtual and nobody's getting sick if they're, following the rules. And then we'll be in good shape. That's my goal.
No, that sounds great, Frank. So as long as the
Frank,
numbers
were
stay
you
where they are, you don't think
able
we're going to have any
were you-
trouble getting the teachers back, right? We're on a good pathway to get the teachers back, you think? I'm sorry.
Again, Colonel Marks, I would hazard a guess that individuals who have, potentially some health issues, maybe not, but the overwhelming majority, I would say, when we're ready to go, we'll be ready to go.
Okay. No, it's great. Thank you, Frank. I'm only asking if
Frank,
were you able to
the
get
same questions I'm asking on the base, right?
any
With
update?
our folks back, so it's that's different.
Were you able to get any update from Orange County Health Department about the specifics of persons who have had the virus in this community who have
So the
returned to well, and how many active illnesses, including student age at the present?
So Ned, I will say that the health
Were
department is
you
very
able to
careful
hear
about
me,
giving
Frank?
out information.
Yes.
Yes, I heard you. Yep. So I will say I did put my outreach to the County Department of Health. They're not going to give me any statistics that don't match what they are putting out, and they will not release the name of anybody in our community or any community to me because of HIPAA guidelines. But I can outreach again and see if they can give me more about age groups and breakdowns.
Yeah, we weren't seeking the names, but I believe it's important to know the number of children in the community who may have been ill, and the other components of persons who have been ill and continue to be ill in the community, both for that raw information and also for a percentage of our community.
So Frank and Ned, I was on a call recently, one of those webinars from State Ed. And they said that they'll only give numbers, just like overall numbers. They won't give it by age. They won't give it by race. They can give it by community and numbers. That's it. That the rest of it is HIPAA. But if a parent or family felt it necessary and did the right thing and shared with the school that their child is sick or someone in their household is sick, that was appropriate. But it can't be like they're not going to give you that information unless something has changed. That was at the end of June.
I think we ought to do it, and
Again, we can reach out and
I think
ask.
we ought to do it in writing.
Yeah.
Because the credible experts have tied the issue of in-person coming back to percentages of illness in the community. And frankly, how Orange County Department of Health could refuse to give you numbers. We're not asking for identifying individuals. I intend, after you, depending on what they make response to you, I intend to make a a personal response request to them. By the way, there is a, I think, an important op-ed in the Times today by the former high-level health doctor Ezekiel Emanuel and two of his colleagues in the Times raising four important measures that ought to be considered. I haven't finished reading it, but from what I read, it seemed to be important. I just got a change of faces on here, and Gabe came on. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Gus, for some reason you're presenting.
Ann or Frank, are you able to hear my voice?
Yes, I can hear you perfect.
Hit right.
How can I get out
Yes,
of that?
Ned.
Yes.
Yeah, hit it. Microphone's off.
How can I get out of that? I'm sorry.
No, somebody else turned it off. I didn't touch it.
Ned, Gus, click on you are presenting.
Somebody turned mine off.
Okay.
Ned,
Thank
Ned-
you.
Yeah, and then click stop presenting. There you go.
There you go. We're good. Ned, we can hear you.
Absolutely.
Can you not hear us? Okay, while we're waiting, does any other board member have any questions for Andrea or Frank? Okay. Does any board members have any questions or comment? Do any board members or anybody on the call have any questions or comment? Ned, can you hear us now?
I can.
Okay, and we heard you. We heard everything.
Yes, can you hear
said.
me?
Yes, and we heard
Yes.
everything you said.
Thank you.
Okay. So, may I call for a motion for the board to recess into executive session for the purpose of discussing the employment history of a particular personnel?
Motion.
And,
So moved.
thank you. And a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So, Andrea and Mike, can you guys stay on? Okay, thank you, everybody.
Yes.